Allergies?
Yes.
Okay, Tammy, I'll start you off with a question. You ready?
I'm afraid to hear it.
Why didn't the dog want to play football?
I have no idea.
Guess. Because it was a boxer. No? Okay. Alright, I guess we're not any good as a comedian, so we'll do the Q&As instead. Stick with something that we're semi-decent at. We're on a rough road. We're running to go get 2 puppies vet checked. And we're late. Alright, let's have a look here, see what we've got. Can you give amoxicillin to a dog who just mated? Well, yeah, probably. I'm not sure why you're doing that, but amoxicillin's a pretty safe drug. So yeah, best I know, I think amoxicillin's fine. You might want to Google that, but I'm pretty sure it's fine. Let's see, Adrian Espino says I've probably covered this in the past. Pardon if I ask again. When is the count after the AI? The first day of AI, the last day of the AI? Well, you always start the count for the first day of AI because you're trying to find the first possible due date for a C-section. It doesn't mean that is the right day for the C-section. You don't want to be in a situation where you counted it from the last day, she took on the first day, you wake up in the middle of the night, you got stuck puppies. So you always go off the first day of the AI, always. And then look at my videos. I've got a lot of videos on how to narrow in on this. The things like progesterone levels, temperature, behavior, they're all things that, Rosales Entertainment. My dog was successfully bred in November with healthy puppies. Seems to heal up good. Is it okay to breed on the next heat cycle? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the rule of thumb is good litter. If you had a C-section, if the insides looked good, not a lot of scarring or adhesions or cysts, she bounced back from the litter, she was good with her puppies, it was all successful, you absolutely can breed on the next heat cycle. But if you've got anything that's in doubt, wait. Somebody, DC4 banger, can't wait to get the one foam machine. Oh yeah, well DC4 banger, well thank you for getting this from us. So DC4 banger has also given me a lot of information that I haven't really shared with you very much on the Euro Heroes. But he or she has got a lot of input on this. So I'm going to read this one to you. What I've noticed is that we're talking about Euro Heroes now. What I've noticed is that when it has a copy of Mask, it tends to look like a regular Mask fawn instead of a Euro Hero. So what DC4 Bang is saying is for a Euro Hero, it probably needs to be a Master's dog. And the tan point, yeah, so definitely in my opinion, it needs to be a Masters with a copy of cream and tan points.
Maskless. I
Yep.
thought you said maskless.
Maskless. I'm going to say it in American as opposed to English, which would be maskless. Could be a maskless dog that carries tan points of cream. So that would be a big E, little e, ATAY. If the dog has the intensity gene, the fawn would be more of a cream color, so it wouldn't be a red fawn anymore. So there you go. So, yeah. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, we're just learning about this, but I mean, it sounds reasonable to me.
They've got green where the tan points go. They're green, literally.
Yes,
green.
that's what it looks like, isn't it?
Yeah. Because Kit's eyebrows and her cheeks and the inside of her legs and down her thighs are all white. Green, anyway.
Smart Picture UK. I have a 5-month-old male Frenchie bulldog. His old teeth are just starting to come in, which is fine. I've noticed he has his tongue out a lot. We're wondering if this is normal to him not having a full set of teeth. No, I don't think it's because of the teeth. I do see this in dogs. I mean, for instance, we've got a Chihuahua. Her tongue is at least twice as long as her head is.
Well, because she doesn't have any teeth there. She's got maybe 3 teeth in her whole mouth.
Okay, well maybe that's at
She
least.
had her teeth removed.
Yes, she's an older dog and she was getting
Yeah.
rotten teeth.
Well, when you don't have any teeth there, you don't have any way of keeping your tongue in, do you?
Okay, all right. Well, I'll buy that. Okay. I mean, I think about Bolt,
Oh, well,
and
yeah.
and then his son Dior,
Yeah.
who both
Had
that. They had not
bit.
huge tongue. They always had their tongue hanging out the side of their mouth.
Yeah.
Which is not a problem.
No.
And I didn't see it in the puppies, but I did see it in his puppy, and he had a full set of teeth. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, you can get dentures for your dog and see if that fixes it. Make some wooden
Invisalign.
teeth. Yes, get some Invisaligns. I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think it's an issue. Other people can chime in and tell us whether they agree or disagree with that. I don't think it's a problem. Oh, someone's talking about Chanel's. Hector Ortiz, who's commented quite a bit in the past. I don't know which is more beautiful. I'm talking about Chanel or the puppies. That's nice.
She'll like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those little 5 platinum puppies that she's got.
Yes.
They are available. They're all fluffy carriers.
Yeah, they're all platinum fluffy carriers.
Yeah, they're from Love My Buffet.
And like Chanel, they are beautiful. Oh my God, Susan Brocksmith, you're fixing to get banned. Tammy's face says it all. Husbands are sometimes the only ones that think they're funny. No, Susan.
So true.
Susan,
That's
Susan.
So true.
Susan, you're stepping on some thin ice.
She sees me roll my eyes and just turn my head
thin
and
ice.
shake my head.
Thin ice.
Yay.
Vaughan Wade Rottweilers. We have a Rottie that's 63 from ovulation. Reverse was an 8. Back today for another in about an hour. Is it safe to wait it out for the drop? I've heard placentas deteriorate after day 63. Not sure if that's true. No, I don't think that. I mean, look, there is definitely a point when things could deteriorate, but it's not day 63. Day 63 after ovulation is the normal. And certainly dogs can. And the problem with this is, you've got a dog here that's at an 8, and I would not be C-sectioning a dog at day 8. Unless there was a lot of other convincing evidence that she's about to go into labour. Nesting, panting. No, progesterone level of 8. Sorry, I said the wrong thing.
You said day 8?
Yeah. Yeah. So now I wouldn't get worried about the placenta at all.
Pregnant or not?
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you this. Tammy and I have been in situations where with a singleton puppy that went like almost a week long, and we're getting very worried about this. And we elected to go have a C-section done, and we ended up with a puppy that was born early. And the placenta was absolutely fine. That wasn't the issue. The dog was premature. I think there's a much bigger chance of you having a problem by not paying attention to things and worrying about whether it's day 63 and worrying about placenta. Now, if you start to see things like green fluid coming out, which would be a placenta separation, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
That one's
Go to the vet.
Yeah, if it's a significant amount of green coming out of her, that's a whole different story.
Wind is horrible.
Darnell Berry. My dog's DNA is AYAY, big B. So that is a AYAT, excuse me, that would be typically a sable. Big B, not testable chocolate. Little d, that is a blue. Big E, little e, carries a copy of cream. NEM, that is a copy of black mask. NS, no cocoa or brindle. What is she color-wise? She's a blue sable. So there you go. And what is she able to produce? She can produce blues from the DD. She can produce tan points from the AYAT, the AT part. She can produce creams from the little e. She can produce fawns. She can't produce chocolates, and she can't produce testable chocolates or lilacs or platinums. So I hope that answers your question.
Then it also depends on what stuff you get her with.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're just saying what the possibilities were if you bred it. Yeah, exactly. Alan Lynch. Hi, James. Wondering if you knew how long it takes for tan points to show up in a newborn Frenchie.
Sometimes they come out with it immediately.
Yep, and
sometimes it's like almost 2 weeks later.
Well, I'm thinking about when Winston, who was one of our studs, he was our first potentially tan-pointed boy. We had a litter. We actually bought a girl who was pregnant. I can't even remember the name now. Jug was the stud. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Anyway, but there was a possibility of getting a tan-pointed dog, and this was back a long time ago when tan points were just beginning and sought after. And we were really hoping for some tan-pointed puppies. Tammy was bathing. He's probably about 3 weeks old, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And you were hollering, and I thought, oh God, something's gone on with the dog.
2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, probably 3 weeks. And he was saying, tan points. Well, the tan points didn't show through. So that was a sable dog, so it had only a single copy of tan points. So, but the answer to your question, which is a long-winded answer here, the answer is, sometimes you see them at birth, not really striking typically, but you see them at birth, especially around their tail.
Yeah, underneath their little tail.
Underneath their tail is probably the first place you see it.
Yep, right around their little
hiney home. Yep. And so, but it can definitely
well,
be
I was going to say brown eye.
Yeah.
right around their brown eye.
Yep, right, yep. Nick Jones, I need help before I purchase this fluffy carrier. I need to know my odds of it actually being a carrier because it hasn't been tested and the dad is a full fluffy, mum is not. The answer is, Tammy?
I wasn't paying attention. I'm watching this.
If the dad was a full fluffy, this has to be a fluffy carrier. End of story. End of story. End of story. There's no need to test, and that's why they didn't test. So they can legitimately if they know, look, the dad is a visual fluffy. It should be obviously a visual fluffy. And in that situation, every puppy has to have a copy of Fluffy. Now, will you see a variation in coat on those puppies? Maybe. We've seen this a little bit, haven't we? Where, you know, you think it takes 2 copies to produce a Fluffy, and it does, because it's a recessive gene. However, a single copy can show a variation where you get a coarser, might be slightly longer head coat. I've seen that. Thanks for everything. Can you make a video of the first feeding after C-section? Go and look at Bo Pete's journey. There's a 12-part series, it may not be a 12-part series, but I do have a couple of videos on like this whole progression from breeding all the way through whelp. But I've got a number of videos where we've actually shown puppies when they've come home from C-section, and Tammy has introduced them to mum for the first time. And so, Tammy, why don't you lead us through what you do when you come home from the C-section?
Make sure mama's good and awake. That's the first important thing. While the babies are sitting in the traveling incubator that we sell on our website, www.mybreedersupply.com. Anyway, so the babies are inside that, safe and warm, and mama's woke up good enough.
So how long is that typically?
Oh, probably an hour after she comes home.
So typically that's probably 2 or 3 hours after surgery.
Right.
Yep.
And so I take a puppy out and I cup it in my hand and cup it with my whole 2 hands and let its little bottom kind of stick out, keeping their feet inside there, and let her smell. And so I introduce her that way, telling her what a good job she's done, she's a good mama.
So why are you cupping them in your hand?
Because in case if she decides to take it away from me or bite it or whatever.
Be rough with them. Yep.
Yeah, because
right, exactly.
you just, especially on first-time mamas, you don't know.
Yep.
Of course, you always want to do this, always, even with the mama that's done it more than once, but just to make sure everything's going to be A-okay.
Yep.
And but anyway, once she smells that, accepts that, and then I'm practically inside the cage with her doing this, I'll lay the puppy next to her nipples there and put the puppy on the nipple and pet her and say, oh, you're such a good mama. And the puppy's nursing on her. Once that puppy is good and nursing on her, then I'll go get another one and I'll do the same thing.
So, great. So what happens if she's not interested in the puppies at all? Then what do you do?
Well, I'll put the puppies back in there and let her wake up some more.
Okay.
And then if she doesn't show that interest, then I'll put the peanut butter on the back end of the baby.
On their bums.
And let her lick that off, and then the puppy will start doing what it does.
It'll poop.
Pee-pee or
Poop. Yep.
poop. And so then hopefully her instincts kick in and it's like, oh, this is my baby.
So it can take up to 12 hours sometimes before mum really knows what's going on. So you do need to pay attention for this first 24-hour period to make sure you don't have an accident. It's pretty unusual for that to happen. We've never had a puppy bitten, but I have had people who have had puppies bitten. So I think there's a couple of things I'm going to add to this. You want to have your girl who is in the whelping box at least 24, if not 48 hours before you go have the C-section response. You don't want to completely upheave a whole world where she's gone from being a dog on the bed to a dog that's got little rats running around on her. She doesn't know what's going on. Make it as gentle a transition as you can.
Rats, the precious little babies.
But the point here is put them in the whelping, put her in a whelping cage, so she's used to it. She's going to want to find a place to whelp. She's going to be looking around the house, under the bed, in the closet. What we do is we put a blanket over a crate with our whelping system and get mum acclimated to that, right? the day beforehand or 2 days beforehand, so there's not a big shock. Because remember, first time mums, which is the hardest ones, don't know what's going on. New mums that have had this before, they normally fall right into it. But the things that you're going to experience here, especially in new mums, the milk may not come in for 24, 48 hours. But she probably still has some colostrum. You may get little beads of...
You've got to have that colostrum no matter what.
You've
got to have the colostrum for the puppies.
Right, and if you decide you're going to have to supplement with a bottle and goat's milk, by the way, which would be a human baby bottle, 0 to 3 month nipple, not one of these tiny little pet things that are rubbish, in my opinion.
With the long, skinny
waste of
nipple.
time. Yeah,
waste of time.
Yeah.
Because when you see a Frenchie's titties, sometimes they're that big around.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
big as my thumb, you know, and it's like, holy cow, how's that puppy going to get that in its mouth? But it does.
It does. So, and if she's not got any milk, it's still good to have the puppies nursing because that helps bring the milk in. So if you just take puppies away and you wait for the milk to come in, you may mess up the whole process. Let the puppies nurse and just monitor her to make sure that she's being attentive. And you'd be surprised how quickly mums come around. But the peanut trick is great.
Peanut butter trick.
The peanut butter trick is great. And if you've got puppies that are smacking away and they're happy and nice and warm and wriggly when you touch them, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
If they're crying and they're not warm, incubator time, definitely goat's milk time. And just pay attention to the fact that she's behaving okay. We talked about this before, so I'm just going to finish the video out on this. If you've got a mum who is aggressive, then be very careful. Now that's a mum that you may have to... Tammy's idea on this is, I say put a muzzle on, but I think Tammy's idea is better, which is a pair of nylons with a hole cut out the toe. Pantyhose, right over her head, where her mouth can come out of that just a little bit, but she can't get her mouth open to bite anything. And just give her some time. But to answer your question, that's the first feeding. And by the way, for us, there is no second, third feeding. Mums and babies are together all the time.
24/7.
24/7. We do not separate mums and babies. I know a lot of you do this.
You get to sleep at night.
And your mum's doing what she's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Bond with the babies. We don't like this separation of babies and mums.
No.
Maybe there's times when you have to do that because you've got an aggressive mum, but it's far and few between that happens. And I think you can run into much bigger problems.
We get tons of phone calls. People saying, "Oh, my puppies are aspirating. The milk's just coming out of their nose." First thing we ask them, "Are you leaving them in there with mama 24/7?" They're saying no. That's why they have such a flush of milk coming out their nose, is because mama hasn't been nursed on for 2-3 hours.
So she's bagged up.
So she's got milk bagged up.
Yep, so it flows really easily.
So when those puppies start nursing, all of them, and it just comes in and it just floods them.
Yeah, and just cop on the right side, but you're doing fine. Okay. And then, because the other thing about this is if the puppies haven't been fed for 3 hours, they're hungry as hell.
Oh yeah.
So they're all going hell for leather, and the next thing you know, you see milk running out of their noses. It doesn't mean that if you put them there, you won't see milk running out of their noses. That can still happen. But
like it would when you're leaving mama up away from them for 2 or 3 hours.
Right, exactly.
And then they get aspirated, they get
pneumonia, they go downhill.
Paper towel is the best thing to suck that right out of their noses that's flooding them out.
If we see a puppy that's got milk running down his nose, we go get a paper towel, we mop it up and put him back with mum. That's what we do. If you've got a puppy that's been doing that and then you start to see discharge on its nose, whether it be green or clear, then that is the impending problem of pneumonia, and that one, aspiration pneumonia, and that one, you need to get that dog on Clavamox, and you may well need both an incubator and an oxygen concentrator to get that puppy where it's okay. Without that, you may lose that puppy. So there you go. There's a full...
Where do I go?
Keep going, you other side of town. All right, thanks everybody. See you all. Bye. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.